There is an unbelievably large amount of different monsters in the world of The Witcher. Big, small, peaceful, dangerous, beautiful, ugly, smart, stupid, even godlike. From dopplers to demons, from ghouls to arc griffins. We meet them at the pages of The Witcher books. We see them on the displays of our PCs in The Witcher games. It looks like the whole continent is full of the creatures. But among common hordes of monsters, there are really unique individuals that are hiding from the human eyes. We know almost nothing about them, just some snippets of information, legends, myths, and crazy stories from the eyewitnesses that no one believes. Sounds kind of interesting, right? Our old Witcher definitely thinks so. So today we have collected all available information about the rarest monsters from the different World of the Witcher parts. You may have never heard about all of these creatures. They hide in the deepest caves and sleep on the highest peaks of the continent. But a well-prepared Witcher must have some information even about them. So let us make this information a piece of common knowledge. Because the old Witcher is right here with you guys. As always, we say thank you to our patrons. Their support gives us additional motivation to develop the channel. Do join them, and we promise to create more awesome content in the world of The Witcher in the future. In any case, get yourselves some snacks and brace yourselves, because the old Witcher prepared 10 story pieces about the rarest monsters of the continent for you guys. Penitent. We start the list with one of the rarest specters of the continent, one of the rarest wraiths. The wraith that has the power of many common ghosts, the creature that will never leave his victim in peace, the penitent. It hides in a thick fog and darkness. The monster can strike an enemy and be left fully invisible. Only fog and eerie whispering can reveal the area where a penitent is waiting for the victim. There is only one way to fully defeat a penitent. One must discover what keeps this monster bound to its hunting grounds, and then must break these invisible chains. That can be a curse or maybe dark magic, doesn't matter. But if the victim does not find a way to destroy the bounds that keep a penitent in that area, then they are doomed to death no matter what. The penitent will wait for its chance and complete its fate, complete its purpose. That is why penitent is so rare a monster. There is needed a really big piece of power to create such an inevitable curse, and not many living creatures can do that. Hellhound. All terrible deeds have correspondingly severe consequences. If a human settlement got mired in cruelty and sins, then brutal punishment waits for it. It is bound to happen. In the world of The Witcher, this punishment has a physical embodiment named Hellhound, simply known as the Beast. The Hellhound is the leader of the pack of Barghests, the ghost dogs that are spirits of vengeance. It is horrific and ruthless and represents itself as a quintessence of hatred and evil. The Hellhound comes from the afterlife and terrorizes the cursed village, killing people, animals, destroying harvests. After it appears, there are only two variants of how this situation could end. The beast can kill all living creatures in the settlement, or the guilty ones could be found and punished for their crimes. Then the monster could be defeated and driven out from the physical world. Of course, it is best to find the Witcher for this. The settlement must accumulate a massive amount of horrible crimes for the appearance of the Hellhound. That is why this monster is kind of rare on the continent. However, this kind of monster is not the one that can fully go extinct. With a decrease in numbers of Witchers, there will be more and more Barghests and Hellhounds, who would bring more and more death with them on the lands of the continent. Ruhin. From the ghosts and specters and wraiths, we move to the insectoids. Not to the common ones, but to the unique, intelligent insectoid. An insectoid of demonic origin, a unique hybrid named Ruhin. As far as we know, the Ruhin, like all other demons, was summoned from the other world. The name of his summoner remains unknown. Only the territory where that happened is known. The Ruhin was summoned in the far north, at the foothills of the Dragon Mountains, in the Maliori Principality. A powerful demon, Ruhin could not stay in the summoner's control forever. He fled one day and settled in the cold forests of the Maliori. Those forests absorbed a huge load of elven blood over time. Now they hide an ancient demon who long lay imprisoned until it possessed an innocent, threw off its fetters, and the woods were his to rule. Now no one can safely pass through these forests. Ruhin waits for his victims and has no mercy, neither for well-prepared adventurers nor innocent children. Those insectoid limbs will literally tear any victim to pieces. Iter. Not only the other planes of existence produce dangerous, rare monsters for the continent, humans themselves create bloodthirsty, powerful creatures that can alone terrorize big settlements and even destroy cities. The first of them was named Iter and was created by a renegade mage named Kayran of Rivia as an experiment. Kayran created at least 12 Iters, but in 1373, according to the continent chronology, the population of these creatures was reduced almost to zero, so it was always a very rare monster. Iter is a result of long-term experiments and numerous mutations. Kayran created a real abomination with a long, flat, gray segmented body with many limbs. It was also covered in small hair-like feelers and bristles to detect far-off vibrations, allowing it to hone in on possible prey. Those were so sensitive that the Iter could detect individual targets, so to speak, out of a group and could plan its attack accordingly. For attacking purposes, the Iter had razor-sharp mandibles as well as pincers. The Iter was fast, strong, resilient, extremely dangerous, a perfect predator. But this creature was not lucky because the witcher Geralt of Rivia made it his goal to kill every Iter on the continent. Well, we all know Geralt of Rivia. The Iters had no chance to survive in this confrontation with a famous white wolf. Koshchey. An even more powerful and dangerous monster named Koshchey was created by powerful magic that only a few sorcerers in the history of the continent could use. It looked like a gigantic hybrid of crab and spider, its body covered by a strong shell, and even witchers might find the soft meat inside hard to get at, let alone the commoners. Small eyes, long sharpened mandibles, strong claws, quick reflexes, immunity to poisons. The Koshchey was an absolutely lethal weapon if one could control it. There were only 2 known cases in the history of the continent when magicians were able to create a Koshchey. The first magic user was named Frenegal, and he created this monster using the triangle within a triangle spell. Frenegal was a druid renegade who turned his power to create a gang known as Koshchey's Men. They used this dangerous creature to terrorize villages in the Yamal Mountains. They were beyond the reach of the local guard and patrols. Koshchey's protection guaranteed them full impunity. That ended only when a powerful sorceress named Velen came to that land. Yes, we talk about that Velen herself, mother of the witcher Geralt of Rivia. She defeated Koshchey using the spell named Mirror Effect. That spell concentrated the sun's rays on the monster's body, melted its armor and flesh. The second Koshchey was created by the famous sorcerer Ulzer by the use of his own spell, Ulzer's Double Cross. We don't know much about this creature, but we know that Ulzer did not stop with that and created even more dangerous monsters in the future. The last known Koshchey was killed by the legendary witcher Geralt of Rivia in the catacombs of Old Manor at the Old Manor Island, but we will never know how much of these creatures are lurking in the deep old forests of the continent. V. We move on to maybe the largest, or at least one of the largest creatures in the history of the continent, to a colossal monster who could destroy the big cities himself, who became the death of one of the greatest sorcerers ever lived, to legendary V. V was a giant centipede, or myriapodon, but much larger than any other of its kind. We can only imagine its sizes, but we truly know that this creature was so big that it could alone destroy even a big city with high walls and stone buildings. The only known V was created by legendary Ulzer. Yep, looks like the sorcerer had a soft spot for the huge, colossal-sized monsters. Anyway, Ulzer possibly was the only one who could use creation magic of such power. V was a peak of his magic, a peak of his famous spell, Ulzer's Double Cross. The sorcerer was absolutely sure that he could control his creature. He was confident, but he was wrong. After Ulzer cast Double Cross, the sky opened up, and a colossal scolopendromorph, or giant centipede with a million paws, appeared on the streets of Maribor City, the city where Ulzer was that day. V was pissed off and very strong. Even Ulzer with all his magic could not control the monster, so he tried to defeat his own creation in battle. But the monster was literally invincible, so that day became the last day of Ulzer's life. V crushed the sorcerer, and then it literally crushed the city, turned the walls and buildings into dust and ashes. That was hell on earth. When V left Maribor, half of the city was fully destroyed, and numerous people died that day. They died because of arrogance and self-confidence of the legendary Ulzer. In any case, we know that V survived that day, and now the monster hides in the forests of Maribor, lurking and waiting for victims, the best protector for those woods. That is why no one will dare to enter the Maribor forests. Aeschna or Glustyworp. Now we gotta dive into the depths of rivers, lakes and seas, because some of the rarest monsters of the continent never left this underwater kingdom from the beginning of the times. The first of underwater monsters in this list is named Aeschna, or Glustyworp. This monster is a bumpy and rough-skinned water creature, 4 yards in length and resembling a stump overgrown with algae, with 10 paws and jaws like cut saws. Aeschnae live in swamplands, and the quote-unquote liquid manure which forms much of the Pontar Delta suits it, especially with all the ships with livestock and people on board. Aeschna uses mists and fogs as cover to protect itself from the sun rays. Sunlight hurts this creature and makes it vulnerable. Hundreds of years before the current times, Aeschna was more or less a common creature, especially in the Pontar River Delta, before the humans came over. But when humans arrived and inhabited the river bank, they started polluting its waters. Because of that, Aeschnas received much more food from human waste. That amount of trash and garbage and waste was not normal for these creatures, so they started to mutate, devour the waste and grow very fast. They became a real problem even for human trade ships, attacked them, killed the sailors, and the other members of the crew. Of course, humans started hunting them, killing them, exterminating them. So right now, in the current World of the Witcher timeline, there are very few Aeschnas that remain alive. Humans put these creatures on the brink of extinction. Some scientists do not even believe that Aeschnas exist for real and think that stories about them are just fairy tales. Anyway, one of these monsters got in the way of Witcher Geralt of Rivia and Professor Lannis Pitt from Oxenford's Academy. The latter was a living witness of the Aeschna's appearance. Now he can save the knowledge about this creature for the next generation. Kelpie. Another monster of the water's depths, maybe even more dangerous than Aeschna, and definitely much more rare. Ceres' horse was named after this creature, after the mysterious Kelpie. A Kelpie is a marine monster that, according to the legends, can assume the shape of a horse, dolphin, or a woman. But in reality, it always looks like a pile of seaweed, the size of a young pig, so to speak. Camouflage and shapeshifting are the main weapons of the Kelpie. Hiding between common seaweed, Kelpies wait for their victims, fish, beasts, or even humans. It can lure potential prey to itself by attractive visions. So an experienced sailor knows that if he sees a drowning woman begging for help in the middle of the sea, he must not react. There is a big chance that that is a Kelpie that turned into the woman to lure an inexperienced seaman straight into its deadly trap. The Kelpie's natural habitat is in the warm southern waters of the Great Sea. However, some individuals were spotted even in the northern rivers. If the Kelpie grabs its victim by tentacles, there will be almost no chances to escape. The monster will pull the prey to the bottom, and then, when the victim chokes with water, the Kelpie will devour the body. That is a horrible death, so it is better to be careful in the unfriendly waters. Kayran. If Kelpie and Aeschna can be called rare water monsters, then the next one on this list can be called a really unique creature, the king of the underwater kingdom, the Kayran itself. A giant hybrid of an octopus and a crustacean, the Kayran is a hermaphrodite. That means it reproduces by splitting. If something goes wrong with this natural process, then the Kayran can grow to unbelievable sizes, to dozens of yards in length, and its tentacles can be even longer. The body of this monster is covered by a strong shell. Its mandibles can chew a stone. Its front tentacles are powerful, crushing limbs, and other tentacles are more agile. The Kayran is strong, has fast reflexes. It even produces a powerful poison, so it almost has no weaknesses. Well, we all know that this is not the problem for the Witcher Geralt of Rivia, but anyway, in comparison to other monsters, the Kayran is a really impressive predator of water depths. The creature came to this world during the conjunction of the spheres. We do not know how many entered the continent at that time. We just know that one of them settled in the river waters near Flotsam City. Flotsam's Kayran terrorized locals for hundreds of years, drowned ships, killed humans. Some of them even prayed to this creature, considering it a deity, created altars, and even put the offerings. But one day this monster found himself on the path of the legendary witcher Geralt of Rivia, and with the help of the sorceress Shiala de Tankerville, the White Wolf added another monster to his achievement list. Now, after the death of Flotsams Kayran, we don't know if any of these creatures remained alive, but legends of enormous krakens from the sailors who spend most of their life at sea do make us believe that more Kayrans are hiding in the boundless expanses of the ocean. Aguara. And in the end, we should reflect on Aguaras, one of the most ancient creatures of the continent, a creature who is also known as a vixen, a vulpes, and a fox demon, a creature that is an antherian, a non-humanoid monster that can take on the form of a member of a humanoid race. The Aguara is one of the most powerful creatures whose foot stepped on the lands of the continent. In ancient times, Aguaras could create illusions of magical islands, dragons in the skies, visions of a great army approaching city walls, unbelievably powerful magic. But in the current timeline, Aguaras are more like common foxes than potent creatures. There are two reasons for that. The first one is in Aguara's method of reproduction. Aguaras do not reproduce sexually, but instead they kidnap young elven or human girls and transform them into fellow Aguaras via magic. They become very attached to their quote-unquote children, and if an unfortunate soul happens to kidnap one, the Aguara will give chase until she gets her daughter back, killing those who stand in her way brutally. So if an Aguara kidnapped someone's daughter or someone's little sister, there is only one way to return the child home. That is, track down and kill the Aguara, which is not an easy task. Only the greatest witchers could boast of such an achievement. But times change. Without a natural way to reproduce, the number of Aguaras got lower and lower. In the era of the witchers, it decreased even faster. Changes in the climate and streams of magic accelerated this process. That is why a lot of Aguaras got stripped of their powers, and only a few are left, those who can still create illusions of impressive scale. Whew. That is all for today. Do support our work on Patreon and become a sponsor on YouTube, or thank us by liking and commenting and subscribing. It is quite important for us. What do you guys think about creatures in this video? Did you personally know about all of them before? Anyway, this list of rare monsters is absolutely not full, not complete. We have many more of them that we would like to tell you guys about. So do write about what creatures have to be in this list, or what monsters of the witch universe we should consider talking about in our next videos. Self-Eater, Yaga, Fuka, or maybe something else. Write your opinion and see you soon when the old witcher speaks once more.